Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. Alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. IU President Pamela Whitten has been in office for just over a year, but it's been no honeymoon period for the university's first woman leader.
My sense is that we are heading towards a no-confidence vote in the fall.
But the Board of Trustees chair says Whitten is everything they asked for. As Russia's invasion of Ukraine drags on into a fifth month, one Ukrainian family has relocated to West Lafayette, but the father remained home.
I feel very worried for him, and I hope we meet again.
The family is trying to attain status to stay in the U.S. longer than their visas allow. And we talked with an OBGYN doctor about the impact Indiana's abortion law will have on women's health care in the state. We'll have these stories plus the latest news from across the state right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Authorities are still trying to determine the cause of a house explosion in Evansville that killed 3 people and hospitalized 1. The blast leveled one house and damaged a total of 39 other buildings.
CenterPoint responded and immediately surveyed the scene for natural gas. There were no instrument readings outside the home.
The American Red Cross is assisting residents who were displaced. 2 of the victims were in the house that exploded. The other was in a neighboring home. Family, friends, and colleagues remembered Indiana U.S. Representative Jackie Walorski for her faith and character at her funeral service Thursday. Mitch Legan reports.
The Republican Walorski had represented Indiana's 2nd congressional district since 2013. She and 3 others died in a car crash in Elkhart County last week. A funeral service was held in Walorski's hometown of Granger. There, speakers mourned the suddenness of her death, including U.S. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy.
Like you, I was not ready, nor was I prepared for that phone call. Shocked, angered, bewilderment.
Others who knew Walorski remembered her high spirits and strong convictions.
When people from afar think about what makes Indiana so strong, they might reflexively go to our steel or our limestone. I think about Jackie, and I think about Jackie's steel spine.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Mitch Legan.
A special election to fill her congressional seat will be held November 8th, the same day as the general election. Indiana's ban on abortion takes effect September 15th. Governor Eric Holcomb quickly signed the bill into law last weekend at the end of the General Assembly's special session. Pat Bean has this report.
Indiana became the first state in the U.S. to enact new legislation after the Supreme Court overturned Roe in June. Abortion soon will only be allowed if the pregnant person's serious health or life is at risk, if there is a lethal fetal anomaly up to 20 weeks, and in cases of rape or incest, but only up to 10 weeks. Those exceptions would have accounted for about 2% of the just over 8,400 abortions performed in the state last year. The ban was the culmination of years of battles by the anti-abortion rights movement and the GOP.
We will always have more work to do because we need to make it unimaginable to end an unborn baby's life.
Republican Representative Wendy McNamara says the bill makes Indiana what she calls the most pro-life state in the country.
It is consistent with our overall goal to care for mother and baby.
Democrats say women shouldn't have to ask for control of their own bodies.
It's not compassionate. It's not pro-life. It's pro-punishment. Punishment of women who dare to live as freely as men.
The bill passed shortly after Kansas voters rejected a ballot referendum that would have banned abortion in the state. That left some wondering why the question about abortion isn't on the ballot in Indiana this November. But House and Senate Republicans rejected efforts by Democrats to do so.
They don't want to hear from Hoosiers across the state of Indiana who know that bodily autonomy is just the first step in taking away some of our constitutional rights.
Democrats also pointed to data from a GOP poll prior to the vote that suggested 63% of Hoosiers wanted to keep Indiana's abortion law as is. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Pat Bean.
We're joined now by Dr. Katie McHugh, OBGYN with IU Health in Indianapolis, for more on what the ban means in the state. Welcome to the show, Doctor.
Thanks for having me.
So we've already seen a women's health clinic in South Bend announce its closing once the ban takes effect. What kind of impact will the ban have on women's health care in the state?
Banning abortion access is not just about abortion. Banning abortion access takes away the choices that people have to make about their own bodies and their own futures. This will impact the health of lots of our fellow Hoosiers, our neighbors and friends, in ways that's more than just about pregnancy. Instead, this will impact their long-term health. This impacts the ability for people to stay in Indiana and affects the ability of people to raise their families here in our state.
So with so few exemptions, threats of prosecution, will doctors just stop doing abortions altogether?
It's going to be illegal to do elective abortions here in Indiana, and the restrictions will prevent most abortions from being performed at all, even in a hospital setting and for medical reasons. Patients will not be able to choose their own life and health above their pregnancy. They'll have to leave the state to be able to make their own decisions about their bodies and to be able to choose what happens to them, their families, and their futures.
You know, people with the means will be able to travel out of state for an abortion, but how concerned are you for those that just don't have that option?
There are abortion funds and organizations to help provide funding and resources for people who don't have the ability to leave the state or don't have childcare or coverage at work, things like that. There will be online accessibility for people who are able to access that, but for many, many people, abortion is simply going to be out of reach. This is going to have an incredible tax on our state's economic situation, on our welfare system, on our schools and hospitals. The impact is overwhelming to consider and certainly not something that the Indiana State Legislature considered before passing this bill.
How about the concern about being able to attract medical staff to the state now going forward?
There's already research being done saying that people who are currently in Indiana want to leave Indiana because of this ban, because of our inability to provide evidence-based care and the care that is recommended by our national organizations. It is certainly going to be more difficult to attract physicians to Indiana to practice when we have a state that restricts us so much. And patients themselves are not going to want to live in Indiana. We've seen businesses coming out with support for their employees to leave the state to get health care in the form of abortion, and that's not going to be the end of it.
Now, Indiana already has a pretty high maternal mortality rate. Do you expect the ban to affect that as well?
It's such an important topic. Maternal mortality is so misunderstood, and it is the worst in states without reproductive access and without health care that treats both the mother and the child. Indiana ranks very highly in our maternal mortality rate. This is not a race we want to win. The United States is the worst among industrialized countries, and then Indiana is 46th in the state, in our country, as far as maternal mortality. It is a very dangerous time to be a pregnant person in Indiana.
Doctor, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
As students return to Bloomington for the start of the fall semester, IU officials are preparing for another year of navigating COVID. And they're optimistic it'll be as close to normal as possible, considering the global pandemic. Many precautions from previous years will stick around, such as isolation housing for students who test positive, but masks won't be required, and IU will no longer test weekly.
Unfortunately, we're very used to this. We've gotten very good at it. It's a unfortunate side effect of the pandemic. No one is going to be new to this.
Classes at IU Bloomington begin August 22nd. The Federal Inflation Reduction Act could help Indiana utilities and other businesses to adopt renewable energy like solar and wind. Indiana University professor David Koniski researches environmental and energy policy.
For utilities, there's a lot of money on the table to sort of nudge them towards investing more in cleaner technologies. That's really important for Indiana because we don't have state policy that's been pushing very hard in that direction.
Because of a state law, Hoosiers who install solar panels will now get fewer credits for the excess energy they deliver back to the grid, making solar less affordable. But the Inflation Reduction Act would extend tax breaks for residential solar and add new ones for battery storage. Nutrient pollution from large farms in Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio contributes to harmful algae blooms in Lake Erie, threatening the drinking water for at least 11 million people. But as Rebecca Thiel explains, a new report shows the majority of that pollution comes with farms with fewer livestock that don't have to get a permit.
About 78% of large farms in Indiana's portion of the Lake Erie Basin don't have enough livestock to need a permit. That means no one is keeping track of where all that manure goes. The report by the Environmental Working Group shows places with multiple large animal farms likely don't have enough cropland nearby to hold all that manure, leading to more runoff that pollutes the Lake Erie Basin.
Billions of dollars are being spent on conservation practices in the basin. So this new research can really help pinpoint, the farm fields, the farmers to talk to in the basin where this funding could have the biggest bang for its buck.
Scheckinger says farmers that use manure from animal feeding operations on their cropland can do practices like no-till to keep that manure from getting into local waterways. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Rebecca Thiel.
Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. IU's first woman president has completed her first year in office, but it hasn't been a smooth ride. And we visit with a Ukrainian family that has taken refuge in West Lafayette after their country was invaded by Russia. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
Your favorite member benefit is getting better and bigger.
This is wonderful.
Over the next year, Passport is adding new shows and doubling the number of episodes for you to stream.
They've given us all that they've got.
From your favorite cooking and travel series.
Even the stairs are breathtaking.
To history specials and award-winning documentaries. Better and bigger.
That really is the fun part.
Stream on any device with Passport on the PBS Video app.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Pamela Whitten finished her first year as president of Indiana University. Whitten took over the helm over the university system on July 1st, 2021. Longtime education journalist Steve Hennefeld asks stakeholders to evaluate her first year performance. By many accounts, it's been a challenging first year. Sarah Whitmire reports.
The IU Board of Trustees made history when they announced Pamela Whitten would be the 19th president of Indiana University. Following longtime leader Michael McRobbie, she would be IU's first woman president. It was a significant choice that raised high hopes for many.
I've always considered IU to be among the best public universities in the country. And so I am humbled and I am honored and I am excited to be joining IU, the IU family, as your president.
That was Whitten at the news conference where she was introduced. And a year into her tenure, she's impressed some people with her energy and her focus on students. But there's been no honeymoon. First, a law professor reported that trustees did an end run around their search committee to hire Whitten. Then graduate student workers in Bloomington stepped up a union campaign and went on strike. Finally, the abortion debate prompted new questions for IU's leadership. Germanic Studies professor Ben Robinson heads the American Association of University Professors at IU. He believes many faculty have lost confidence in Whitten. Can she win it back?
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge question because, I mean, my sense is that we are heading towards a no confidence vote in the fall.
In an interview, Whitten says she's happy to be at IU. She's focused on 3 priorities: research and scholarship, serving the state of Indiana, and especially elevating the student experience.
Probably the issue that keeps me up the most at night is the long-term concern about how we're going to keep college affordable for our students. You know, what can we do in the long term to make sure that, you know, all Hoosiers, and of course people beyond the state as well, have access to, you know, an Indiana University degree moving forward.
Whitten was previously president of Kennesaw State University and provost at the University of Georgia. She says there have been adjustments like getting a handle on IU's statewide scope and complexity, and some surprises.
I was a little surprised to realize that the university, let's just say, had the opportunity to be a little bit more fiscally responsible than we had been. We had, you know, in many cases had expenses exceeding revenues, and so that was something we had to yoke right in my first year, and we did.
IU Trustees Chair Quinn Buckner says the board's happy with Whitten and is excited about her first-year performance. He says they especially like her listening and communication skills. Her focus on students, she created a new position of Vice President for Student Success, and her emphasis on diversity. She's launched a $30 million plan to recruit diverse faculty.
I think she's done a very good job. She's done what the trustees expected her to do.
Whitten's engagement with students seems genuine. That's the word from Kai Freeman, the IU Bloomington student government president last year.
I had a lot of interaction with President Whitten. Even despite the fact that she was the president for all 9 campuses, we met monthly to kind of talk about, you know, what was going on, you know, specifically to the Bloomington campus, but also some of the problems that we're facing across all 9 of the campuses.
Greater Bloomington Chamber of Commerce President Eric Spoonmore likes Whitten's priorities.
Indiana University is a huge economic engine here in the community, and so it's been really great to see President Whitten being so engaged with the business community.
Whitten also welcomes being IU's #1 sports fan. Some thought her predecessor, Michael McRobbie, was happier at the opera than at a football game.
I have been a college sports fan since I was a little girl and hid behind my daddy's chair when he was watching college sports, you know, to watch when I was supposed to be in bed.
Here's IU Vice President and Athletics Director Scott Dolson.
Her understanding of athletics is really, really good, particularly in the context of university. Right from the start, what's really important to her, what it has been important to her, and it continues to be, is that IU athletics plays by the rules.
Pep rallies have been a positive, labor rallies not so much. Last year, a majority of IU Bloomington graduate student employees signed cards calling for union representation. They held a 4-week teaching strike in the spring. What do they want from Whitten? Doctoral student Nora Weber is a spokesperson.
Clearly coming into a meaningful discussion, you know, saying, yes, I actually want part of my legacy at IU to be addressing and improving the conditions of graduate workers on campus and addressing it through the union.
IU has refused to recognize the union, however. The impasse led to a mass meeting attended by about 700 faculty. In an email vote, nearly 3/4 of the faculty said IU should let graduate workers decide on a union.
I think that's enormously significant. I mean, that is it's simply unprecedented in the history of IU that many people come up and take a position on governance.
Steve Sanders, the law professor who wrote about Whitten's hiring, opposes the union but faults how Whitten has responded.
This is the biggest crisis the campus faced this past year, maybe in a number of years, certainly the biggest disruption and the biggest controversy, and she was just literally nowhere to be seen or nowhere to be heard on that issue.
This month, IU leaders said they will raise pay significantly and eliminate fees for graduate workers. A task force headed by IU's provost recommended the move. Union supporters say it wouldn't have happened without their pressure. But Whitten says IU is sticking to its guns on the union.
Well, I think the trustees have spoken very clearly in expressing that that's not the avenue for this university to go down.
Then this summer, the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Indiana banned nearly all abortions. The 500,000 IU students who are women lost a right that Whitten's generation took for granted. IU and its leaders have been largely silent.
Well, as the president of a public university, it's not my role to take my own personal opinions and represent them as everyone's. You know, we're a very large institution with many opinions across a continuum.
Whitten adds that IU respects the First Amendment and encourages faculty, staff, and students to express their opinions. Also, Whitten was criticized for not speaking up when politicians vilified an IU School of Medicine faculty member who performed an abortion on a 10-year-old rape victim.
Well, the dean of the medical school and I have actually both spoken out. We made a statement that I think expressed our appreciation for her reputation, not only as a faculty member of good standing, but as someone who enjoys a reputation for a sincere, deep, caring approach to her patient services as well.
Buckner, the trustees chairman, says the board backs Whitten, both overall and in her handling of controversies. How much do they back her? Based on her evaluation of her first year, they voted to award her a bonus of 1/4 of her salary, $162,500. With producer Steve Hennefeld, I'm Sarah Whitmire.
And a West Lafayette resident has taken in her family from Ukraine amidst the invasion of their home country. Reporter Dom Hayab met with the family earlier this week to tell their story of survival.
In a quiet neighborhood in West Lafayette, Natalia Simchinska-Ewell looks after her daughter and grandchildren, siblings Solomia Simchinska and Gleb Simchinsky. The siblings go to school, ride their bikes, and play with their dog, Tuffy. But unlike other kids, they are 5,000 miles away from their home in Ukraine.
I miss my friends, my school, my dad, my cats, everything.
That's 8-year-old Solomia, or Solo, as she likes to be called. She will be starting school in Lafayette as a 3rd grader this fall. She and her family lived normal lives in Kiev. Their father, Kostyantin, was a professor at multiple universities, and their mother, Alicia, owns and operates a Montessori school. But everything changed, as Natalia tells me, when the family felt the explosions of Russian shelling from their 9-story apartment. Their father took them to their summer cottage some miles away from the city to wait out the conflict. But the shelling intensified, and Kostyantin knew he needed to evacuate his family.
I'm so glad that he had this sense of what is safe and what is not safe, because later we learned that there were so many civilians' cars shot by those tanks.
It took 10 days to get out. Eventually, they made it to a train depot, packed shoulder to shoulder with other families trying to escape.
In their righteousness of feeling that grief and this unfairness, some people were maybe angry, and they just started going around and kind of coming down, those people. And Solo played with some babies, and they found a cat. There, somebody was bringing their cat with them.
That's the kitty, that's the kitty.
Solo left behind her own 4 cats. After what felt like countless hours, they got off the train in Lviv and then started walking several miles. Eventually, they made it to the Polish border. It was here that they said goodbye to their father, Kostyantin, who was staying behind to fight. Kostyantin is now an officer in the Ukrainian military.
Every time I think about it, I feel really dreadful, and because, like, my mom likes to say a lot, and it's like a lottery. Every single day, you don't know what's going to happen. I feel very worried for him, and I hope we do meet again.
Some days are better than others for the family. The day of the interview, we were supposed to meet with Alicia, but she was struggling with bad news from home. Now, the family is working to acquire temporary protective status, which will allow them to stay longer than their 6-month visas.
Right now, I'm more on the level, just get to certain normalcy, go to school, just get education, because there may be a moment when you guys go back and you have to raise this country up.
For now, Solo looks forward to phone calls with her dad and sharing stories of dreams over the phone with him. Here, Kostyantin is telling Solo a story about pink elephants protecting smaller creatures from the rain with her ears. Natalia calls it sweet nonsense. The phone calls help the kids when they're feeling especially homesick, but Kostyantin can only call when it's safe to do so.
She's saying over there is the border. There are cars, and here we are.
They're hoping the war comes to an end soon so they can return home and live again as a family.
Since people aren't talking about this as much as they have when it all started, that doesn't mean that the war has ended.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Dom Hyab.
That's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. Alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.